I think I've seen a pretty interesting statistic lately when it comes to Hedera, and that is how, according to ChainSpect, in the past 30 days, Hedera has averaged roughly approximately 14 ten thousandths of a dollar in terms of, again, the average transaction fee. Why is that even a big deal? Well, first of all, that's quite low in the grand scheme of things. And also on top of that, we have to consider that is literally $0.0014 on average for the past 30 days in terms of the gas fees when it comes to Hedera. I think this not only highlights Hedera's fundamentals, but it also showcases, I think, its efficiency. And I think this is the type of stuff that enterprises really do care about, especially for something like Hedera, which is so focused and so obsessed over enterprise adoption. I think this does matter a lot. And let me explain why I think so, especially for Hedera as a project, even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I am not telling anyone to do anything. So again, if we take a look at it, Hedera having an average transaction fee that is so low for the past 30 days approximately, the fact that it was again that low, right? 14 ten thousandths of a dollar, it's to the point where it's actually somewhat on par with something like, in the case of Avalanche, something like Near, and it's actually even lower than something like Solana in the past 30 days, according to ChainSpect. This not only, I think, showcases that, again, Hedera can actually compete with some of the other more massive players out there, but again, this is the type of stuff that enterprises do really care about. Enterprises, when they want to adopt something, they usually want something that is predictable, something that is not so wacky in terms of the gas fees, and something that is also quite reliable in that sense, because these enterprises, they're doing things thousands of times per day, multiplied over weeks, over months, over years. They don't want something that has ridiculously high gas fees usually. So when I take a look at something like this is quite impressive in my opinion. Now, people like to tell me, is this the sole reason as to why HBAR recovered almost 22% in the past 7 days? No, it's not the sole reason, but this is the type of stuff that is going to help allow Hedera to have better adoption, I think, moving forward, because enterprises do care about this type of stuff. And whether or not this recovery, so to speak, is prolonged or not, because some people are still wondering if it's going to be just this fake, kind of recovery and then it goes down again. A lot of people are still wondering that, which is fair because this space has not been doing good for quite some time now. So the skepticism is still there. I'm totally aware of that. But regardless, whether or not this recovers and continues on or it doesn't, regardless of that, I think I can't deny the fact that seeing Hedera have an average transaction fee of that low, I can't deny that that is something very impressive and something very commendable. I mean, a lot of other projects out there can't do that, right? They can't achieve that simply because I think they weren't built from the ground up to actually be that way. Other projects out there, because they've been around for way longer, they weren't necessarily built for efficiency and scalability in mind, right? In some arguable cases. So Hedera actually kind of had this benefit in a sense where it appeared a little bit later on, where it was able to figure out, okay, this is what other projects were doing wrong. Let's now fix that and try to improve it. I think, again, having the first mover advantage is cool if done right, but sometimes sitting back and waiting a little bit, we can see how it would benefit a project like in the case of Hedera, where it understood a lot of the other weaknesses that has been seen by a lot of other projects, and it was kind of improved when it comes to this. Keep in mind, Hedera Hashgraph doesn't even utilize traditional blockchain technology. It uses something called a directed acyclic graph. So it's just so different. Not only is it different, it has that it factor just because it's so different, but also on top of that, the gas fees are not ridiculous. This is what I like seeing. Now, if we take a look at in the case of Hedera, people like to tell me, well, if the difference is so minimal compared to, let's say, another project out there that uses traditional blockchain technology, who cares that this is a directed acyclic graph in the case of Hedera Hashgraph? People like to say, no one's really going to care about that small difference. Well, a lot of enterprises actually do, because just like I mentioned before, if an enterprise is literally doing tens of thousands of actions per day, and that's like sustained over weeks, over months, over years, that slight difference is slowly but surely going to start to matter. It's going to start to be a big deal. And again, a lot of other projects out there, they use traditional blockchain technology, which is fine, right? But if we take a look at in the use case, for example, like AI, like supply chain management, like real world assets, that's where something like a directed acyclic graph could truly shine, because a directed acyclic graph is oftentimes noted for its scalability, for its efficiency, for its energy consumption, which typically isn't too massive. Those are the main key factors and traits which are often sought after by these developers who, again, are focused on AI, for instance, or supply chain management. So this is quite crucial stuff that I'm seeing when it comes to Hedera, at least fundamentally. Now, when I take a look at the price, though, over the past 24 hours, not much has happened. It's just been a almost 2% recovery, so it's nothing really that impressive. But to me, at least, if we take a look at, again, the over 20% recovery in the past 7 days, keep in mind, the journey is still quite far, comparatively speaking, to last year. A lot of my friends out there, they seem very excited with this, but really, again, the journey is still quite far in the grand scheme of things. So I'm not like super excited as of right now. Not really. I mean, I do like seeing this recovery, but we're talking about a project here that is still down over 68%, almost 70% in the past 365 days. So we gotta let that sink in. This is a project that is still not doing so good. It's still struggling, actually, as of right now, comparatively speaking to just even a year ago, and not even like just simply a year ago. If we take a look at it a little bit farther, the peak when it comes to HBAR in 2025 was actually over 3 times than right now. Like, the market cap back in January of last year was around 13 billion. We're just around 3.5 billion as of right now. And a 13 billion market cap in the grand scheme of things really isn't so massive, right? The reason why I think that way is because Shiba Inu back in 2021, the market cap was like around 40 billion. And then Dogecoin that year, the market cap was like around 88 billion or something like that at its peak. So if we take a look at HBAR, at around a 13 billion market cap last year, it's nothing that monumental in the grand scheme of things. And HBAR has already reached that before. It's not like it's never reached it. We literally saw it last year. And even on top of that, that market cap that it reached last year in terms of its peak, just in the year 2025, of course, right? But again, the peak in 2025 was still like almost 4 times away than Shiba Inu's all-time high market cap, right? Almost 8 times away than Dogecoin's all-time high market cap. So it's really nothing too impressive, and it still kind of showcases just how low HBAR is, comparatively speaking, even compared to last year, which I don't necessarily find to be a bad thing, because I don't complain about the dip. I don't complain about that if I like the project. But I'm just saying, this recovery, it feels a little bit just like the appetizer. I have not seen the main course, I haven't seen the dessert, I haven't seen the entrees yet. I just haven't seen it. The recovery is actually so minuscule in the grand scheme of things, which is why I'm still waiting, but I'm not telling anyone to do anything. But regardless, seeing how Hedera has fees, or should I say average transaction fees, over the past 30 days that have been that low, relatively speaking, I think it's quite legendary, and I think it's quite telling as to how sound it might hypothetically be in terms of a fundamental perspective. Even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but that's just from what I realized. That's literally from what I can see in regard to the charts. However, I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward, so hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. I want to say thank you so much for watching. It's been Lee the Captain.